Extreme poverty and crippling leprosy are so widespread, the area has been called the Green Hell. Located 1,200 miles up the Amazon River, the sprawling, hectic port city of Manaus is the capital of the Amazon region. It is a vibrant city, alive with the hustle and bustle of commerce. But Manaus is also a city plagued by a poverty so lethal it is choking people to death. Manaus, Brazil is at once exotic and tragic. In April of 2002, I traveled to the Amazon region of Brazil with a man whom I am sure St. Francis of Assisi loves dearly, a secular Franciscan who is making a world of difference. His name is Jim Flickinger. He is a lawyer who had a successful practice in Grand Rapids, Michigan, until he decided he was going to do something about the poverty he saw in the Amazon during a trip to Manaus, Brazil in 1995. When it comes to relieving the suffering of the poor, Jim's philosophy is very simple. He says, "I can't do everything, but I will do everything I can." And doing everything he could meant starting a charitable organization called Amazon Relief. Amazon Relief works to break the cycle of poverty that imprisons people in massive slums cluttered with a maze of poorly constructed shacks. In each of these small dwellings, about the size of a two-car garage, 10 to 20 people live in crowded, suffocating conditions. The houses are built on stilts, which elevate them over a pool of percolating waste. The stench of raw human waste from the open sewers is nauseating. All manner of diseases plague the people dwelling in these horrific slums. The mosquitoes transmit malaria and dengue fever. The poor live without drinkable water or adequate plumbing, and they share their humble homes with snakes, bats, spiders, and a horde of large, ugly insects, and the poor never find any relief. Hidden in the dreadful slums are countless malnourished children who constantly face profound hunger. The degree of suffering and pain people endure on a daily basis in the sprawling slums of Manaus is beyond most people's imagination. But even more distressing is the realization that leprosy is also a part of life in the Amazon. Amazon Relief provides aid to a large leprosarium where scores upon scores of people whose hands, arms, legs, and faces have been eaten away by an unspeakably loathsome disease. Among other services, Amazon Relief provides lepers with specially designed, lightweight carts, which give lepers a degree of mobility. Amazon Relief is providing shelter, food, medicine, and clothing for many of the 45,000 lepers in the Amazon. They create special educational programs for children who come out of the jungle or who live in absolute poverty. And these programs are changing lives. 2 schools funded by Amazon Relief serve over 650 children, teaching them reading, writing, and basic hygiene, as well as feeding them a nutritious meal each day. Amazon Relief also builds chapels, providing the poor with a place to worship, and also gather for adult educational programs, offering important information on health and hygiene. Amazon Relief funds a soup kitchen operated by Franciscan friars. They have hired a trained nutritionist to ensure the poor receive a healthy meal. The impressive thing about Amazon Relief is that not one penny donated to them is spent on administrative costs. Just about everything I have said about all the work Amazon Relief does, working with lepers, operating schools, building chapels, funding soup kitchens, can be found in one of Jim's brochures. The horror of leprosy is a reality in the Amazon. The area is home to 45,000 lepers who struggle for survival. Lepers suffer the greatest pain imaginable, a pain far greater than the physical pain they endure. They suffer the pain of rejection, of knowing nobody wants to come near them or even look at them. They know they have no value in the eyes of most people. This is a terrible anguish and loneliness. This leper has no fingers, no feet, no eyesight. Yet what he wants most is to be loved. Christ asks us to be in communion with lepers, to be with them in their suffering. Lepers can help us enter into our own inner pain, which will help us open our hearts more fully to God. Moments before taking photographs of this elderly leper, I asked her how she was doing. Her answer stunned me. Very, very good. Praise be to God. Clustered around the leprosarium are a number of small villages where many lepers live. It was difficult to see so many people afflicted with a disease I had assumed had been eradicated long ago. I was shocked to learn there are over 700,000 lepers living today in a half-dozen poor nations. As I toured the slums and leper colonies of Manaus, I felt great waves of compassion welling up within me. I wanted to embrace the leper, but I was afraid. Compassion makes no distinction between friends and enemies, neighbors and outsiders, compatriots and foreigners. Compassion is the gate to human community. Compassion is not sympathy. Compassion is mercy. It is a commitment to take responsibility for the suffering of others. To be without compassion is to fail to know the self. When we recognize and accept our own frailties, we have no trouble dealing tenderly with the needs and lapses of others. Compassion is the sacrament of concern. To the person who is compassionate, tragedy is not a news report. It is a call to respond. I like those thoughts. I have come to understand that compassion is not a feeling. Compassion is action. St. Teresa of Avila told her sisters, "The purpose of prayer is always good works. Good works. Good works." I need to transform my feeling of compassion into some form of action, some kind of good works, or else what I felt in Manaus would amount to nothing more than passing empathy, which is of no practical use to me or the leper. St. Teresa understood that when we help others, we are helping ourselves and Christ. While no one can do everything, Jim Flickinger reminds us that each of us must do everything we can. When it comes to helping the poor, not knowing what to do is not an excuse to do nothing. The simple answer is, do what you can. Just do something and do it well, and let God's grace do the rest. We must fight the feeling that one person cannot make a difference, even if it is only offering a homeless person a smile. Each of us can do more. Each of us needs to do more. Do what you can. Today and every day. Pray that you do not forget or ignore the poor and the hungry. We can't all be Jim Flickinger and go running off to the Amazon, but we need to help people like Jim and charitable organizations like Amazon Relief.